Hi everyone, I am not going to be here today, but I did want to give you a quick review. The two things that you want out on your desk is your pencil and your calculator. If you would, please put everything else away. Make sure that your phone is in your book bag and your book bag is against that back wall at the back of the room. Once again, you only need these two things out on your desk, and I'm going to do just a quick review with you before you take your quiz today. All right, if you remember, I talked about with ratios, the main thing you really want to remember is that you always want to divide things, okay? So in this case, we're looking at sugar to mint leaves. We're just comparing only the sugar and only the mint leaves. So you really don't have to focus on anything else in this ingredients list. You can see the sugar is 1/2 cup. So as my ratio, I'm going to put 1/2, and then I'll just say 2, and then I've got to compare it to the mint leaves, which is 3/4. If you remember, in order to find the value of the ratio, what do I need to do? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Hopefully you said divide, because divide is the key thing that you have to do for nearly every ratio. You take the first thing, 1/2, and divide it by the second thing, which is 3/4. Are we allowed to divide fractions? No. So what do we have to do instead? KFC. Keep the first one, flip the second one, and change the operation. In this case, you can see that we can cross cancel. That becomes a 1 and a 2. And then when you multiply that across, remember you're going to multiply the numerator. 1 times 2 is 2. And then you have to multiply the denominator. 1 times 3 is 3. So the correct answer would be 2/3. This becomes the value of our ratio. And now we have to interpret what the value of the ratio means. In this case, you take what the first thing is that you have there, which was what? If you look at the top, we were comparing sugar. So we're going to say the amount of sugar is, and then we're going to take whatever we have up here for the value of our ratio, which was 2/3. So is 2/3. And then you're going to say the same exact thing here. Notice I said the amount of. I'm going to say the amount of, and then let's focus on what's the second thing we're comparing. What is it, guys? Mint leaves. So now I want you guys to read with me, what is the interpretation? Let's read it together. The amount of sugar is 2/3 the amount of mint leaves. Read it together one more time. The amount of sugar is 2/3 the amount of mint leaves. And that is what our interpretation of all this information is. Let's look at this next one. We're finding the missing values in the ratio table. We are trying to figure out what this value is. Remember what I just said before. You take the first thing, 24, and divide it by the second thing, which is 3/4. This is going to give us the value of our ratio. I'm going to turn that into a fraction. And now we can see over here, I have to use KFC, so I'll keep the first one, flip the second one, and change the operation. Always remember that you want to cross-reduce if you can. A 3 can go into a 3 one time, and a 3 can go into a 24 8 times. Let's multiply the numerator. 8 times 4 equals 32. If I multiply the denominator, I have 1 times 1, so it would just be 32 over 1, which obviously simplified, that would be a 32. Once you find that, your value can go all the way across. Then also be reminded, if you are working from the top to the bottom, in this case, you are going to divide, but if you are working from the bottom to the top, instead, you will do what? You have to multiply, okay? Then you would just fill in the rest of the missing values in the ratio table. As a reminder here, when you are finding the unit rate, you want to make sure that you have a 1 in the denominator. In this case, we've got 80 pounds per 5 months, but I don't want to know how much I gained or lost in 5 months. I want to know how much I gained or lost in 1 month. So what you have to do every time is divide by whatever number you have in the denominator. So I'm dividing by 5 on the top and the bottom. A lot of times people will just say, oh yay, my answer is 16. But when finding the unit rate, what exactly is wrong with that answer, guys? You need to make sure that you have units attached if it is a unit rate, okay? So here we would have 80 pounds per 1 month. All right, just a couple more review problems I'm going to do real quick. This says, tell whether or not the ratios form a proportion using cross products. So always look carefully at what the instructions say, because I'm not going to be here to reread the instructions to you, so I want you guys to really make sure you're looking closely at what it's asking. Let's turn this into a fraction, 6 to 4, and we're trying to figure out, does it equal 8 to 10? The way to do this with cross products is we are going to multiply across that first part, 6 times 10, drop down your equal sign, and then we'll multiply across this time, 4 times 8. Drop down the equal sign, 6 times 10 is 60, 4 times 8 is 32. Class, do those equal each other? No, they do not, so you're going to put a little slash through that saying 60 does not equal 32, which means no, they do not form a proportion. Okay, there will also be a section on your quiz today that you guys can decide which method you would like to use, whether it would be mental math, multiplication, or cross products. In this case, I would like us to do mental math. I am trying to figure out what the x would be. So I have to discover how to get from a 5 to an x. In order to do that, I have to look at the denominator. How did I get from a 7 to a 28, guys? What did I have to do? I have to find a missing link. 7 times a number times 4 equals 28. Therefore, I have to be fair and do that to the top. 5 times 4 equals what, class? 20, okay? So x equals 20, and that's the answer. And then it says, tell which method you used. In this case, I used mental math. Let me do one last problem with you. This asks if 2/3 and 5/9 are equivalent. 2/3 equals 5/9. There's a couple ways you could do this. I could do mental math. In order to get from a 3 to a 9, I know I need to multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. So let's check this. Is 2 times 3 5? Class, yes or no? No, it is not. So because that does not equal the same thing, the answer is no, they're not equivalent. In this case, you also could have worked it out cross products. 2/3 equals 5/9. I'm going to multiply across 2 times 9. And does it equal this across 3 times 5? When I work that out, 18 does not equal 15. So once again, the answer is no. Okay, so at this time, I want you to put everything away that is on your desk except for your pencil and your calculator. When you are finished, please do not ask to get up to use the restroom. Please do not ask to leave, just like normal if I were here. I want you just to sit there, either take a nap or read a book. So if you need a book, grab it from the back of the room and set it at your desk. And then at the very end, she will collect all of the quizzes. Don't forget, you do have homework tonight. It is a review sheet. It does not need to be put on big ideas, but it does need to be completed, and we will check it tomorrow in class. Good luck on your quiz.